Hey, welcome back to the Rich Hart Show. Hey, glad everybody could attend. Hey, today's topic, the business of people and the behavior in a world built around the process and profitability, and why they are so crucial to our success in business today when we're talking about people, profitability, productivity, and of course, that dreaded word of process. Hey, joining me today is Cindy Lynch, one of the partners of 620 Partners, and Bob Langley of REL Leadership Group. And guys, welcome to the program. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Superb. Hey, the business of behavior in today's cognitive environment leads us down some crazy paths, all right? Cindy, I want to start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about what 620 Partners is. I know Rhonda couldn't make it today, so we're going to give a shout out to Rhonda. Say, hey, Rhonda.
Hey, Rhonda Holloway. So Rhonda Holloway is my business partner.
Good.
We've been working together now 5 years. Actually, what we look at companies and help them optimize their profitable behaviors. Every company keeps score some way.
Love it.
Like, if you're a basketball team, how do you keep score?
Sure, exactly. Hopefully by every time that ball goes through the net.
Exactly. So you want to make sure you've got tall guys on your team that
Yeah.
have lots of skill.
Good.
Right? So that's what we do. We
Good deal.
help identify profitable behaviors.
That is cool. And we're going to be talking about that whole concept of what this profitable behavior is. But before that, Bob, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
And tell us a little about something about REL Leadership Group.
Well, REL Leadership Group, we've been around since 2002. We work with small businesses as well as individuals on personal and professional leadership, coaching, and consulting.
Which is needed.
We work with a lot of employees as they're, or executives as they're growing up in the business
Right.
to take that next step. Also look at succession planning models and how to get people there. But mainly what we enjoy.
Behavioral side. Yeah, they could be qualified, but they have the altitude and aptitude, all right, to take on that.
Done well and not done well. It's things that they do and don't do. It's
Right.
not always what they know. It's not their experience. It's not where they went to school. It's not their education. So when people fail in jobs, it's for they don't work well together. They can't meet deadlines. They're not accurate. So we look at jobs and say, what are the profitable behaviors that drive that job? Do you need somebody to be accurate?
Oh, I love that.
Or do you need somebody to be collaborative?
Right.
What is needed in the job to drive profits? And I used the basketball earlier.
Right.
You can legally hire 6'5" guys because that's part of the job.
It's just a little closer to the net, all right?
Exactly. And that's what I love that, and that's where we're going, closer to the net.
Good, love it. That's great. When we start talking about it depends upon how we keep score,
Yeah.
and in regards to that, and the realization, all right, of today's employees. I think and I believe out there, and I've said it many times before, these folks themselves, they can't do it on their own.
Right.
All right, so they're going to have to bring some really program.
Yes.
And let's talk about that, the keeping score. So leaders today, all right, and we have a leadership program tomorrow, all right, but the leaders of today, when we start looking at keeping score, what is the whole objectivity of this?
Well, first you've got to define what that score is. So in leadership, what are you talking about? Engagement? Are you talking productivity?
Right.
Are you talking safety? Or can they do the job?
Right, exactly.
Right? You're either a people leader or maybe you're a technical leader.
Right. You know, Bob, in your world, all right, you work with individuals from a leadership standpoint,
Yes.
and really getting and working and designing the process, developing those. Some of even your past experience that I know you very well, okay, in some of the retail, okay, leadership change, people change, in your world.
Well, a lot of times leaders talk in generalities.
Right.
You know, this is the kind of person we want. They don't get the specific behaviors, and that each job or each responsibility or team they're a part of
Right.
has different behaviors that are required. As Cindy mentioned, you know, you need to be more analytical. You need to be more detail-oriented to do this job.
Right.
You know, you need to be more inspiring to do this job. Different behaviors that people need to develop. And I think a lot of times what happens is, you know, we talk about different, I know we're going to talk about different assessment tools and things that are out there.
Exactly.
My job is you find the proper assessment tool that fits your organization, and I know Cindy and 620 do a great job with that.
Right.
Is my job is then to take it to the next level.
Okay.
How do we put this in as a system that adapts into what you're currently doing? It's
Right.
not an extra piece. You know, sometimes when we do things with people, they say, this is an extra piece we have to do now. How do we integrate that in all phases of behavior.
And I can see that really being needed, because a lot of organizations, they want talent management, they want leadership development. Their managers are promoted because they've done a great job. They've had no experience.
Right.
So get the right person in the job, with the person with the right DNA, and then what you're saying is, now we're going to train you how to do the job. Because
Exactly.
most people aren't born with those innate skills.
Yep. And it's also important to train the people who are training the people
That's
to
what
do
I
the
said.
job.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times it's passed down and it says, okay, you said, oh, you all went through the one class and workshop and you know what you're doing with it,
Right.
so go out there and use this. And what I focus on is, how are you using this material?
Right.
How does it fit? How can it become part of the culture of your organization? Not just something that it was a great idea to go and, you know, buy this assessment or software program or whatever it is, but how do you make it part of the culture? So it's a communication tool, it's a developmental tool, it's a succession planning tool.
Right.
That
Those
is
types
so
of things.
key. I
Sure.
see so many organizations, they get something and then next year they do something else, or then they do something else. And they're just, you might as well,
Pulling straws out of a hat.
Exactly.
yeah, you might as well
Yeah.
just put $100 bills on fire.
It's like the latest fad. Well, it's a fad. Let's do this one. Let's do this one.
Right.
You find the process that fits, which I know 620 does a lot of that with the predictive index that they use and
Right,
assessment
exactly.
tools that they use and
Sure,
other
exactly.
tools they use. But it goes beyond that. It's now how do we use this to get the most effective behaviors out of our employees to get their performance? You know, I always tell people, it's funny because I get a group together and I'll say, I would like you to do me a favor. I want you to bring out your profit and loss statements,
Right.
and I want you to motivate them for me. You know, and you will be surprised people actually try it.
Yeah.
And I'll say, okay, we'll sit there. Let's get sales up. Come on, sales. Let's go. Let's sales.
You can't motivate people.
Yeah.
That is a
Yes.
huge
Yes.
misnomer.
Yes.
People think,
Right.
I need a motivational coach. I need,
Yes.
But I mean, we're talking from the top down.
Yeah, we're
We're
talking-
talking responsiveness,
Right.
all right? And my question out here is that you're working in both with Cindy and Bob. What's the responsiveness of the leader? What's the accountability, all right, of the leader? And that's going to be more crucial because that's going to help them with the implementation, all right, of this plan in order to carry it out, because it's going to take a little time.
Yep.
It's not something that's going to be an overnight deal. And so people really need to, I guess, adopt the culture.
Buy into it.
Exactly.
Buy into it.
and just even more on what Bob's saying, people aren't unmotivated and people aren't lazy.
Right.
Managers, it's the manager's responsibility.
It's the leaders of those.
If you've got
You hear that out there,
unmotivated,
leaders? Okay, I just want to make sure you got that, leaders.
if you've got unmotivated, lazy employee, the
Right.
problem isn't in your talent pool. I guarantee you.
Most likely. Because they were brought on for a specific purpose with a specific reason.
Yeah, who
Okay.
starts a new job
Exactly.
saying, "Oh, I'm going to go and just flub up, be
Sure.
lazy, irritate everybody, be annoying."
I
Oh.
have to say though, I've had a few employees, however, that, you know, wake up in the morning, I think they got up this morning and said, I'm gonna upset Bob today. I'm gonna get on his nerves. I do believe there are some of those, but I don't think people, you know, inherently get up and wanna have a bad day, wanna
No,
do
of
the
course
wrong
not.
thing.
People
It's
want
either-
purpose.
yes.
People want meaning.
Right, and are they positioned where they can get that?
Right.
That's the key to all the behavioral assessments and understanding people's behavior for specific positions is this the behavior that can make them successful? Because if they feel successful,
Have the right people, and I believe at this particular juncture, we do have the right people.
times that I see these things happen, unless they're working through and processing it and making it part of their culture, people can use tools or behaviors and start to label people by their behaviors.
Right.
And that's something that the coaching model helps, to not be labeling people, because you're not like me. I think, I know Rich and I had a conversation a few days, weeks back or whatever, we were talking about, could Rich manage 10 Rich Harts working for him?
Definitely not.
Mayday,
Imagine
mayday.
that. Now,
I
because.
feel a lot of love in the room right now. Hold on one second.
It's
All right,
going
a little overbearing.
down.
It's a little overbearing. I got you.
The
All
point
right.
of that is,
Sure.
each person has a specific responsibility, and there's things that you don't like to do, or maybe you're not as good as you'd like to be. I know I have things that I hate to do. So getting people that fit for the behaviors and the results, as Cindy mentioned, the results that you want, the profitability, the numbers, the things that you're going after,
Right.
may not be 10 Rich Harts. There may be a bunch of different types of people that can get that for you. And that's what it's important to coach leaders to
And that's why
understand
teams are such a good analogy,
Sure.
right? You think about the Chinook drivers and in the Army and the rescue teams.
Right.
Everybody has a role,
Mhm.
and you have to make sure you've got the best person in that role that can execute that mission. Whether it's sniping, whether it's stemming a bleeding limb that's falling off, right? And you've got to trust the people on your team that they are doing their job.
Yep. Which is actually, if you look at the dynamics of today, and again, it's another generalization we do when we say, oh, millennials or snowflakes or Xers or whatever. No, what you're seeing the shift in businesses that I'm working with is it is more of a team concept
That's
now.
right, exactly.
It's not a pyramid top down, this guy makes all the decisions, these people just execute. They're
that the richest
creating
case?
teams.
No, hold on a second. I truly believe that I cannot do it by myself.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
and
well,
that's,
I do.
and that's from a leadership standpoint. That's a leadership standpoint. As if when you really grasp that, okay, then you're actually bringing that team in and the process and the people in place.
Then you score.
Then you score.
You score,
Love
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And then you're making money. We're in business to stay in business.
Imagine that, right? What it comes to. No, we're actually heading into job versus people.
Yes.
Already. And it's funny. I pulled up some survey statistics out here. One of the right off the top says 63% of workers are not engaged or struggling to cope with work.
Yep.
That's a large number, and I'm going to talk about
Cha-ching,
some other numbers
cha-ching,
out there.
cha-ching.
29% say individuals themselves are engaged. 45% they said they're not engaged, and 26% of they're actively engaged. Means they want to be there, but they just don't know really if they want to participate. And I'm going, you've got to be kidding me. And so now, from the leadership standpoint, okay, leaders have really got to step up, all right, and really play the game.
And they've got to ask themselves, what is that costing them?
Sure.
That's ROI on their employees.
Without a doubt.
And so part of what Bob does, and myself as well, is the question becomes, what if you do nothing?
What if? All right. Here's another question: is this what if the job could talk? What do you think the job would say?
Exactly. If the job could talk. So if the job is to climb a tree, are you going to hire a horse and try to train him? Or are you just going to hire a squirrel?
All right, let me think about that for a second.
I'll take the squirrel. But so many times organizations hire these horses because their briefcase
That's
looks
right.
good. And they think they see something in them, and then they're disappointed. How many times do companies hire suboptimal losers?
Well,
How many times have you hired a loser in your business?
non-performers, we call them.
Losers.
Inspiring performers, right? Without a doubt, 100%. But you're right. You're right. 100%.
Nobody sets out to hire failures, but yet every organization has them.
Yeah, sure.
And they are willing to accept that's the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
And I cry BS on that. It's not true.
Sure.
It's not a cost of doing business.
I think that the question that you asked, Rich, is very good, and Cindy's answered it in a very good way. Adapting people to the process, and you get to what would the job say?
Right.
This is the thing that got me is when I've been working with different organizations, individuals, is if I was the job speaking, my answer to that question would be, you don't understand me. It's kind of like a conversation with my wife on a regular basis. If I was talking to the job and the job was trying to tell me as the leader, I would say, you don't understand me. You don't understand what it takes to make me happy. You don't understand what it takes to do what I do.
Amen.
And that's where the behavioral piece comes in, because what are those things that will help you understand that job so you can go look for the person.
Right.
You know, I seen that. I was working with an organization
And
today.
Cindy
Yeah.
to the rescue!
Yeah,
Cindy to the
yeah.
rescue, because
Yeah.
I have a tool that actually objectively measures what you think the job requires. And you would not believe that when I get together with the key stakeholders,
Right.
they almost never agree.
Mhm.
You may
Yes.
think the job requires, let's say, a lot of independence, a lot of decisiveness, and you're like, nope, I want people to collaborate. And here we've got the CEO and the CFO completely disagreeing.
Totally
How are we
different.
going to meet? How are we going to meet our strategic goals when we don't even agree on what success looks like?
And my first question out there is, are the employers clear and concise on the message about the business of people and behavior and the world around from profitability and a process standpoint? All right, I'm with Bob Langley of REL Leadership Group. Bob at relnow.com. All right, Bob, they can reach you at 404-518-1559.
Yes.
And sitting beside me is Cindy Lynch from 620 Partners. You can reach Cindy at info@62020partners.com, 954-253-8526.
Call today.
Call today.
But wait, there's more.
And there's more. But when it comes down to how do we find the right people? All right, when we're looking and talking about this idea of profitable behavior, there are different ways of looking at be it the assessment tools, training available, development process, using those tools properly, Bob, which we talked about, and Cindy, we talked about tons of time, all right, and what is needed and how it's to be measured.
Yes.
Is going to be key. So what are we currently using right now? What tools are available in our arsenal? What tools do our leaders have today?
Well, behavior assessments are just hitting business community by firestorm. I mean, it totally takes the good to great concept and makes it possible, makes it a reality. It's not a theory, it's not an idea, it's not a nice to have, it's a need to have. Companies don't have the bandwidth to be dragging around suboptimal employees.
Let's break that down a second, all right, because that's cool, all right? I don't want to go to 10,000. Me, I'm a 200-foot level guy, okay? So why do they need this?
Because we are terrible pickers. We think. How many bad relationships have we all been in? Right? Let's
That's a different show.
Yeah, you're like,
That's a different show.
I didn't see that coming. Because people project, people show up for interviews well rehearsed. You can go on the internet and you can practice. They give you questions, things to say. Most resumes are examples of creative writing. You don't know who you're talking to.
That's right.
Anybody can put on for any length of time.
Sure.
I can put on for a long time. But at some point that show breaks down.
Right.
And then you're stuck with an employee that's underperforming.
Sure.
Because you cannot observe behavior. So the assessment that I use actually will tell you, is this person proactive?
Right.
Is this person going to be a hunter?
Right.
Is this person going to be attentive to detail? Is this person going to drive a school bus and not be trying to read a Kindle? Is this person going to be captain of a cruise ship and not be showboating?
Right, exactly. Well, that's extremely important. All right.
Yep, and that brings us back to the thing of at the beginning with these behavioral assessments and the things that Cindy and her team do are very valuable. And again, it all starts with what are you looking for, defining the position and the role and what the responsibilities are going to be. Then you can identify the behaviors that you need to go out and look for. And a lot of companies, they don't do that. I'm going to put an ad on Craigslist and they just write out. Plus, the other thing I always say, a lot of times I've read some ads from some clients who say it's more of a, they make it sound dreamy and cushy. And
you're not selling the job.
Right. Yeah, and
they're trying to
sell the job is what they're doing.
Conversation.
And the other thing about what you're saying is, okay, you're hiring somebody and you fire them. Do they think they deserve to be fired? No. What do they go home and do? They go home, kick back in their recliner, turn the TV on. Within 20 minutes, there's a commercial on for some law firm. Have you been misfired? Have you been wrongfully fired? Call us. What does it cost them to call the attorney?
Free.
Zip. Nothing.
Nothing.
When that attorney now calls your company, you start stroking those checks. Da-da-da-da. Right? And so now you've got attorneys involved, and they look at these job descriptions, and they're like, that's not legally defensible.
That's right.
Nobody can do that job.
That's right.
So what Bob and I are saying is create a job description that's realistic, that has measurable outcomes,
Which we just said.
and hire the person that can naturally do the job, so you're not trying to train a horse to climb a tree.
Sure, exactly.
And you hold them accountable.
Well, it all sounds that we're still at 10,000 foot. Let's bring it down a little closer, because that measurable. If we don't have the right job description, okay, and we're not working with the best interest of the relationship of what we want them to accomplish, the task at hand, okay, and we're not actually holding a level of measurement, okay, then the whole process is what? Nothing.
Nothing.
Right?
Success equals a good process
Sure.
plus people who can execute.
Who can execute, right. And the execution is the easy
So I would
part.
say the understanding of how these tools work and how beneficial they can be for you. I mean, it becomes a communication.
Sure does.
You know, it becomes something that you talk about that can be used as you go through an organization. And Cindy talks about, you know, somebody comes in, doesn't do the job, we move them away. The first thing is they just, I hear so much of this, they don't have a good attitude.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what do you mean? Tell me something. You want to boil it down.
Right.
Don't talk to me. Tell me specifically. How do they have? They don't have. They have a bad attitude. What do you mean? Well, they just don't care to be here. What are you running around inside their head, and you can tell me they don't care and they don't want to be here? How do you know that?
That's not the employee
That's
problem.
right. Let's get down to specifics as to
Right.
they're not doing this. They're not following this system. They're not using the behaviors that will make them successful.
Right.
They're not engaged. It's going back
Right.
to
Yeah.
Rich's
Exactly.
statistics. And
It's-
what
it's
does that
buying
cost?
in, buying into the process, buying into the program.
It gets confusing. I mean, a lot of times, I'm talking with employees who are doing 360 feedback evaluations on folks. Some people have no clue what they're supposed to. All they told me to do is I need to make sure that this book gets printed and bound and sent out by Tuesday.
That's right.
And that's a question
all
I
it is.
ask when I'm coaching. I'm like, how do you know you're doing a good job?
Yeah.
Well, I don't get yelled at.
Right.
Mhm.
Ding,
That's
ding,
it.
ding, bad
That's
answer.
it.
We always call it, you know, that seagull management. You know, you
Not-
fly
It's the
in,
dropping.
you fly in, drop it, and take off. That's seagull management. We
That's
practice a
not
lot of that.
Yeah.
But if we knew what the behaviors were specific to that position, we can sit down and have a very intelligent, successful conversation to help people
Ooh, there's
get
a
to where they want
buzzword.
to be.
Right.
They can sit down and communicate. You know, we come up with all these performance review systems and everything else, and they're all based on, most of them that I see are based on simply results. So what was your profit, what was your sales? No doubt about
Nothing
it,
wrong.
that's important.
Yeah, without-
But how did we get here?
That's right.
And that's so we can't, like I said, you can't motivate the P&L. You can motivate the people by showing them, hey, if we tweak this behavior, or if we
Exactly.
start doing this will give you this number, not just go.
And that's
find
where
this
measurement
number
comes
somewhere.
from.
Exactly.
Okay, that's where the
That's what
measurement
you
comes
mentioned.
And
Yeah.
that goes back to what you're saying about the leadership and develop. It's not the manager's job to get those results. It's the manager's job to mobilize and motivate a team to get the results.
Exactly.
And that requires hands-on. It requires being interested, being involved,
Sure.
talking to people, not sitting in your desk behind a computer writing emails.
Right, exactly.
It also goes to that point of also, this takes more time in today's environment, is knowing the people who work for you.
Sure do.
It's knowing who they are, what they're capable of, what their behaviors are, what their
What's important to them.
what their assessment profiles are, what their values are, what drives them.
That's right.
What drives these folks, and it's changing. You know, I know Rich and I are in a similar age bracket. We grew up in a different environment, which
Thank
what
God I'm
motivated
not.
us. You know, that's why.
That's hurt me this morning.
Hey, I said I was with you, boss.
Good, I
was
got
with
you. All right, I'm with you.
You know,
I got you.
the
That's all good.
environment's changing. People's values, they're driven by different values nowadays
Yes.
than maybe what we grew up with.
Sure.
And but getting
You
to
know,
your
every
people-
generation coming in the
Yeah.
workforce has been declared the worst generation.
Yeah.
Worst work ethic.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting to
It's
know
the
your
values.
people, what they need based on their assessments, their behaviors, their personality
And-
types, how to get
And you
them where
can't
they wanna get
observe
to.
that.
No.
That's what we're trying, I think
That's right.
that the bottom line is what Bob and I are trying to say is you can't observe that.
No, not at all.
Because people project and put on what they think
Mm-hmm.
you're looking for because people want that affirmation.
And that's going to be the key piece of here. All right, let's bring this all together here. Is how do we keep people engaged?
You understand them. You put them in jobs that they're naturally suited to do, and you have managers that understand how to keep them motivated, which means not demotivating them.
And to use the word, I mean, I hadn't thought about that word, but it really comes down to understanding the people who work for you.
Right.
Not listening and hearing what they're saying, understanding them. You know, it's like why I say you said process earlier. Once you've found something, you know, I spent a lot of time on behavioral interviewing.
Right.
It's asking the questions to elicit responses that tell you whether they have the behaviors or they don't. I was with the CEO today interviewing him, and I said, let's role play interview. And I got the old questions. Well, what's your biggest strength? I'm a great people person. I get along with everybody.
That's what we're talking about at being state.
It's-
Pat Summit is a great example. She used the predictive index assessment
Right.
tool. And we all know how great Pat Summit was,
Right.
right? Lady Vols won all those games. And how she used the assessment is exactly what you said. She looked at it and said, what does this person need from me? Do they need a pat on the back? Do they need a kick in the pants?
Sure.
Are they going to be my captains? Right? How can I get them interested into coming to play for me? And that's how she used the tool.
So now we're talking about developing people, all right, and tools, and developing and utilizing those resources, all right, that are available to us, okay? And so, Carly, what do we have at our disposal? Well, let's bring this all to a head right here. What's
You have me, that's all you need.
All right, there you go. We're done.
We're done, that's it.
The thing is, we have lots of tools out there. You know, I know Cindy and 620 are really interested in using the predictive index and some other tools they have there.
Right.
You know, I've worked in the past with all kinds of things from DISC to Wonderlic to all the different tools.
Right,
There are really great tools out there. It's just the execution, use of those tools
Right.
in your environment. They have to fit into the company to make them work.
I think you're hitting on something key. There are a lot of tools out there, and it's almost overwhelming. It's like going
It
into a
is.
Mexican
Literally.
restaurant and trying to
Yeah.
order some tacos.
Right.
And so what gives you the advantage is having somebody that can help you,
Sure.
shepherd you through using the tool and making it part of your culture.
Exactly.
And that's where at REL Leadership Group, one of the things we focus on is that coaching piece. You know, it's funny, and I hope I don't get a lot of emails, and because I mean this in the most positive way. We're all willing to go out there and to send our kids to baseball camps and to
Right,
soccer
exactly.
camps and to all these extra things so they can be successful. It seems to me that when people get through high school and college and postgraduate work and they learn their new job and they're in the position, I don't need coaching anymore. I'm done learning.
That's right.
And this is
Never
a
ends.
constant learning,
Yeah,
learning the new generations, learning the new people, learning the new teams, learning the new technologies.
Sure.
That's where we come in to help coach you through some of those curves because the old tried and truths aren't going to work for you as well. And
Are you telling me I only think I've made it?
Only think you're almost there.
And that's the whole
That's
concept
it.
of stuff that we've
You're
got out
almost
there.
there.
When I talk about all this focus, the first opportunity to create what we call unlimited success, you got to continue to work at it. Okay.
Yes.
Continual
That's why it's
learning.
called work.
Jim,
Continual
exactly. Jim,
learning.
we come from a gym environment, okay? And we look at this.
What, you saying you
and
don't
I
get that
didn't say
workout?
nothing,
You
Cindy.
you walked
I
right
says
into that.
We help me out here, guys. I says we come from a gym environment, okay? And the thing about going inside that gym environment is that we have to understand that this is a lifelong
Yes.
commitment.
Yes.
Okay, leadership and what you do in developing people, talent, skills, resources, okay, is a lifelong process. All right, and you've got to continue to learn. All right, you've got to continue to focus down on the things themselves. It's extremely important for these folks, and so they engage in doing what they got to do. All right, and keeping that level of octane high. I mean, I can run all these statistics out here when you start taking a look, but 63% of the work is not engaged or struggling to cope with some kind of work environment. Well, this is what we do. This is what, and this is our forte to now take on to the next level. Okay?
Can I remind you of a quote that we've all seen buzzing around
Please
for
do.
quite a while? But there's a the CFO turns to the CEO and says, "What if we invest in all these people and then they leave?"
That's it.
And what did the CEO say? What if we don't and they stay?
They stay. Exactly. All right. And so here's the thing, folks. I says, well, we can talk and drill down personality, behavior, process, and everything we'll talk about today with people. All righty. Guys, I want to thank you very much. All right, Bob Langley is of REL Leadership Group. All right, you get a hold of Bob. So Bob at getrelnow.com. You reach him at 404-518-1559. Cindy Litch, 620 Partners. All right, hey, let's give another shout out to Rhonda. Hey, Rhonda.
Hey, Rhonda,
Good,
Rhonda.
good, superb. But out there, Cindy Lynch out there. Info at SIX220 Partners, PARTNERS.com. You reach Cindy and the gang out there at 954.
Or just look me up on LinkedIn.
There you go.
There you go.
We're all over the place. All right, but hey, that kind of I guess that's my phone call.
Are we cut
coming.
off?
That's my
cut
phone
off
call
now.
coming. Hey, you guys, I want to welcome and thank you very much for coming on the show today. We have some great stuff. I think we're going to be coming back. All right, on another segment, I'm really talking about
Do I
this.
get a prize?
Yeah, everybody gets a prize. Hey, thank you very much, guys. Just
Thank
one
you,
more
Rich.
shout out. Thank you very much for
Thanks,
coming by.
Rich.
Hey,
Got it.
welcome to another, all right, Rich Hart Show.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Rich.